तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेषशून्यवादी पार्श्वदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we'll be reading. You can take the Gita too. Gita you can. We'll be reading from the verse 3.30. So
just beware. Don't be surprised if you find some mermaid in your toilet. You must be cautious. Yes.
Somebody is speaking Chinese. Hare Krishna. Okay. So today we are going to discuss on this verse. I'll just share with all of you. It is 3.30. So you can repeat after me this verse, and also we will look up to the previous was little bit. No, I'll just describe that because it's a bit connected. So you can repeat after me. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirashe nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Okay, I have not shared. I'll share with all of you. I'm sorry. Yeah, now you can see hopefully. So you can say again. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. So, mai unto me, sarvani, all sorts of karmani activities, sanyasya, giving up completely, adhyatma, with full knowledge of the self, chetasa, by consciousness, nirashi, without desire for profit, nirmamaha, without ownership, bhutva, so being, yudhyasva, fight, vigata jvaraha, without being lethargic. Anybody like to recite? No, mai sarvani karmani, can you just recite? Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirashe nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. You like to recite? Sorry?
This is my first time here and
okay, no issues, fine. So let us read the translation. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for a profit, with no claims to the proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So this is a beautiful verse where Krishna is telling Arjuna to come to the action of fighting. So actually, if you see in this world, all of us are having so many duties to perform, right? If you carefully observe your life, you have so many roles in this world, and and you're all having all those duties, all those responsibilities to perform. So previous to this class, we had a discussion on how we should work. So that understanding we had got. So if you remember, we discussed 4 things. So Karmanyavadikaraste ma phalushu kadachana. That verse we are discussing. So we are saying that there are 4 things required for someone to actually work. First thing is that one should be responsible. Second thing is one should be not attached to the fruits of his work. Third thing is one should be not proud. One should not think himself to the cause of his work. One should not be proud, and one should not be lazy also. So it's connected, because if you're responsible, so you have to be dutiful, you have to be responsible. But what happens? But when you're dutiful, responsible, we start expecting some result. So don't be attached to the result, he says. And then, even if you get result, let's say something you get, even if you may not be attached, but then we start thinking I'm the cause. Because of me, I worked so hard, so I got some result. That may happen. So don't consider yourself to the cause of your result. So result is in always God's hand, Krishna's hand. Success or failure, whatever it is, it's ultimately in Krishna's hand. So results, you're not entitled for results. You can only put your efforts, but results are never in your hand. It's always going to be awarded to you. Only thing is that thin line we're not able to understand, because usually, like, I want to lift kartal, I put effort and I could do it. So it looks like I'm only the cause of my ability to be able to lift. But I was telling the example, let's say you get paralysis. Even if you desire, you cannot lift. It can happen like that, right? So this always be like that. That we are not actually cause of the result also, which is sometimes little tricky. You remember we gave the example of a doctor, who was taking credit. I saved the patient. And the other person asked, okay, if you did save the patient, have in your life ever happened that you were trying to operate the patient and then patient died? They said, yes, it happened sometimes. They said, then you are the murderer also. Then you should take the credit of murdering the person also. So just like you're not taking the credit for murdering someone, if you are trying to save, the person dies. Same way, when you're trying to save, some person is saved, then you shouldn't be taking the credit for saving also. Now, ultimately, whether the patient is saved or not saved, that's not in your hand, that is in God's hand. That's what we understood in last session. So here, Krishna is telling the consciousness, that surrendering all your works to me, with full knowledge of me, without desire for profit, with no claims of proprietorship, and free from lethargy fight. So that means a devotee of the Lord, he works with this understanding that, oh, all these works, what I'm doing, all these works is actually for the pleasure of the Lord. Everything, practically everything. So, so all his works, he's actually trying to perform for his pleasure. That's how he surrenders all the work to Krishna. Right? So the surrender process is basically, in very simple language, if you do it for the pleasure of the Supreme, that's how you surrender, right? So you do all your works for his pleasure, for his satisfaction. So that is the point of surrender, actually. That's a meaning of surrender, because you don't want to do it for yourself. You want to do it for the Lord. Like a simple person who is working in a company. So how is surrendering to company? That means if he's doing all his work for company, then he's surrendering to the company. Like sometimes family members may say, hey, you are fully surrendered to company only. Means what? Even at home also he's doing the work of company. Just see, So surrender is not something, it's a matter of that he has to be in the company only. You can be in company, you may not be in the company. But if you're doing all your work for the profit of company, for the sake of company, then you're surrendered to company. So sometimes you may be in the temple, sometimes you may be out in the temple. You might be doing various kinds of works. But if your consciousness is fixed in doing all those work for the sake of the Lord, then actually you are surrendering your life for Krishna. You're surrendering everything to Krishna, right? So it's not just a matter of physically being present in some place. No, it's actually, what is your consciousness? What is your understanding when you're doing any work, right? So he's saying, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me. Full of knowledge, that means what? Oh, actually everything belongs to Krishna. Even my abilities belong to Krishna. Even my skill set belongs to Krishna. And ultimately, I exist for the pleasure of the Lord. So it's called being full knowledge of Krishna, being full knowledge of me. That means one is conscious that I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am simply, his dear son. I am his dear servant. So my duty is to serve him. My duty is to please him. If this understanding is there, then automatically we will do all work for his pleasure. It's very simple, because our whole energy will flow in the direction where our identification is, right? So identification is the the first thing which comes up, and then all your endeavors and work will be done for that particular purpose, right? Like if husband identifies as a family, he's the wife of, he's the husband of someone, and he's the father of someone. So when that identification is there, then he will put so much of energy in maintaining the wife, in maintaining the children, everything, correct? It is natural. But there is no identification only. He doesn't identify as husband of someone, a father of someone. Then he is like, it's like just free bull. He doesn't have anyone to take care of, right? So he will not put his energy in taking care of anyone, like any woman or any children, because he doesn't identify himself like that, correct? Like nowadays, this divorce thing is happening. So what does the divorce does? So people just try to superficially forget their identity. Before the wife, children, they were maintaining. Now divorce has happened. So now no more wife, no more his wife. No. So then now he'll not give any single penny to the wife. Why he'll give? Because the identification is not there. Then he doesn't take care of, right? So we also have divorce from Lord. We are not identifying that I am servant of God. We have also kind of taken a divorce. We have forgotten. Actually, as per the Vedic scriptures, once somebody is married, that relationship cannot be broken. So this is how the Vedic scriptures are very strong about, there is no word called divorce, or talak. Talak is an Urdu word. There is no word in Hindi parallel to divorce. There is no word, because in Vedic culture there was no point of, there is no question of having divorce. Actually. Of course, the Vedic life was a very glorious life in terms of the people were also following the principle. The husband would follow the principle, wife would follow the principles. They would read the shastras. They would be guided by brahmanas. They would have a very a proper life based on scriptures. That's why everything was in place, kind of, right? Of course, the degradation happened gradually, and that's how we find the modern situation is quite topsy-turvy. So, of course, don't ask me, if there are certain situations whether it should be divorced or not. But the point is, the whole situation has become very chaotic. Husbands have become irresponsible. Sometimes wives are not chaste. Sometimes they don't have any understanding of scriptures. People just have their own self-centered ego, and just the way they want to whimsically act in their life, they may act. They don't have sense of responsibility. The marriage is simply taken as a means of some gratification. So this kind of concocted ideas, the modern day ideas have come up. That's why people face lots of issues that way. But anyway, the point is that when that identification is there, then our all energy efforts will be in that direction. So now when we have become forgetful of our relationship with the Lord, so Srila Prabhupada writes sometimes, he says that our relationship with the Lord is eternal. It cannot be broken. Just like the relationship of a son with father for this life is fixed, right? It cannot be broken. Just because some misunderstanding is there, the son may forget the father. He may just go somewhere. But it doesn't mean that the relationship is broken. The relationship is always there. Now, if the son again tries to dissolve the misunderstanding, they come together, they spend time, again that can be revived. Because the relationship is there. The same way, we also have kind of taken divorce from our Supreme Lord. We have forgotten, our relationship with him. So we are not acting with that relationship. We have kind of forgotten our identity as being the loving son of God, the loving servant of God, Krishna. So then what happens? Then we are identifying with different other designations, which are temporary in nature. Then I'm thinking, okay, I'm servant of this country, I'm servant of this wife, I'm servant of children, I'm servant. Everybody is thinking of himself as servant of something. See, everybody in this world is acting like a servant. Nobody wants to be servant, but everybody is by default acting as a servant. Like Srila Prabhupada would give many times example, the president of a country. He's thinking that he's a master of the country, actually servant, because if the countrymen don't like him, they may throw him out of the seat. So that means he's actually supposed to please his citizens. That means he's trying to serve them. So actually the servant, right? So everybody in this world is servant. The husband is serving his wife and children. Children are serving his parents. The shopkeepers are serving the customers. Everybody is serving. If they were not serving anyone, they will serve dog. The Papa said, don't serve God, then you serve dog. So, but someone other you have to serve, because that's your nature, correct? And we do surveys based on what identifications we have, what temporarily we identify ourselves with, right? So now when we give up our real identity as being part and parcel of Krishna, as being his part and parcel, his loving servant, then we forget that whole domain of our activities where we would like to serve Krishna. Correct? And because of forgetting that real identity of ours, we have to identify with something. We cannot live without identities. So when that real identity is taken away or we have forgotten, it is always there, but because we have forgotten that real identity, then what happens? Then we have to identify with something temporary. You understand this point? Yeah. Yes.
So what comes to me is when there is like, what do you exactly mean identification? So now I am a student. So identification, if there is an identification, then there comes the responsibility.
Yes.
That is what you meant.
Correct. Yes, it's clear. No?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we will have some discussion, but I'm not saying that we don't have to identify with anything of this one. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say you is the principle of our energy, our efforts will go in the direction where we have identification. This is the principle. Now, what is our real identity? That is very important for us to understand. Our real identity, our eternal identity is being part and parcel of God, being part and parcel of Krishna. Then what happens is when we have this real identity, then all our other designations, what we may have in this world, like we being a father, we being a son, we being a student, we being a businessman, we being a citizen of a country, whatever identification we have, right? We do have clarity that there are temporary identities. Now, all these temporary identities, what we may take up in this world, it all should be used. It all should be dovetailed. It all should be utilized for the sake of serving our real identity. You getting this point? Because that is something permanent for us. Yes? Like why people, people don't mind changing the company. They may identify today with Microsoft, tomorrow they may be with Facebook. They may change, right? But they won't change the family members. They won't say, okay, today I'll have this wife and the next tomorrow another set of 5 children, parents. No, it's not like that. Because, and they will always serve the family, right? They will always serve the family. They may serve the company for some period of time, one company, X company, Z company, another period of time, Y company, another period, for some other period of time. But the family, they are going to serve the whole life. You understand? And with that X company, with Y company, Z company, actually they are going to serve the parents only, the family members only. Because they consider that to be real identity for that life. They do realize that, oh, this company, that company, that company, these are all my temporary designations. But they use all the designation to serve the so-called real identity, what they are thinking in this life. Okay, this is my real identity. I am having this family as my all-in. And that's how they serve. For that purpose. So now, and like we think I am the body and they're my family members. So this is, I serve my body, I serve my family members. And what are other roles I carry in this world? I use it for that purpose, utilize that for that identity which I carry, which is we consider to be the most permanent. Of course, it's not permanent, but we think that my family members and my body is all, I'm always going to be like that, right? So we all do everything for the sake of, serving our own interest of the body and of the family members, right? Because that we consider to be our real identity. Now, when we understand Krishna to be our, our real master, and we are his servant, and that is our real identity, then we will use all the other designation what we carry in this world. We understand there are temporary designation, even the designation of my family members, and even the designation that I am the body. Even that also we utilize for the service of Krishna. That's what I'm trying to say. So not just companies, not just as a citizen, not just everything, not just body, everything, our relatives, body, everything, whatever we have temporary identification with, all these things we will serve Krishna. You getting this point now? That's how one can offer all the works, all activities for Krishna. It's a good theory, but that's what Bhakti Yoga teaches us. Bhakti Yoga teaches us because as you become more and more progressed in your Krishna consciousness, you will be actually able to have this consciousness that I am the servant of Krishna, and then you will always think of serving him with any of the designation, any of the work, because all that ultimately the efforts and work will go towards in that direction. It will go in that direction. Just like a person who is identifying with family, this is a prime identification, then there's so many other identifications. Then all that, what he does work for any other identification, ultimately he tries to serve the purpose of satisfying his family members and himself in terms of his body and his people related to his body, because he considers that to be the prime identity or the main identity. You getting what I'm trying to say? Like say big politicians and everything, they do a lot of things, but ultimately they're looking for that the satisfaction of their own real identity, what they consider. That is, I am this body and my family members, they're mine. That's what is caught up in. So this is very important principle. So that's why in spiritual life, in Krishna consciousness, we carefully cultivate this understanding of how I'm not the body, I'm soul, and how I'm part and parcel of Krishna, and that is my real identity, right? Then only we can surrender all our works for the service of Krishna. So that's what he's saying. So surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy fight. So that means full knowledge of me, I told that I am servant of Krishna without desire for profit. Why? Because, so here the profit in the sense, any kind of material gain. So we are trying to serve Krishna, not for getting some kind of material gain. No. Why? Because ultimately, even if you get some material gain, it belongs to whom? Krishna. It belongs to Krishna because nothing is ours. And then what you will do, even if you get material gain, what you are going to do with that? You have to just use it for Krishna's service, right? And you are anyway serving right now. Whatever you have right now is serving Krishna. And even if you get some material gain, what you will do is serve Krishna. So why you need to ask Krishna? Krishna will anyway give you whatever is required for you to serve Krishna. So if you simply develop your attitude to serve Krishna, you will get anything and everything what is required for your service to Krishna. That's why devotee doesn't bother to ask anything. Devotee does not even worry about his body maintenance also. It's amazing. Why? Because he knows, for me to serve Krishna, if I need a body, if I need some good health, Krishna will give me. If I need some money, Krishna will give me. You understand? So Krishna will provide you everything. Just like a son, he doesn't needs to ask his father, can you please make sure that you give me breakfast, lunch, and dinner 3 times? No. See, I'm born in your family, huh? You should be my father. I pray to you. The child doesn't have to need to ask that. Okay, will you pay off the fees for my school? Will you purchase the books, please? Promise me you're going to purchase. Everything will be done. Whatever is required for education, for a good health, parents will take. Your attitude should be to love and serve your parents. That is the only thing required. Selfless, right? Just be a good son. That's all. You can pray to your parents. Let me be a good son. Bless me that I can be a good son. That's all. Let me always be aligned to you. Let me never rebel against you. Let me be obedient good son of you. That's all. That's what you should pray for. So same way we can pray the same thing for the Lord. Let me always serve you. Let me always please you. And that's how you'll be happy. That's how we'll be happy. So that's why he doesn't desire for any profit. Because he knows ultimately my profit is I have opportunity to serve. I have opportunity to work for Krishna. If at all devotee may ask something, he asks with the intention to serve Krishna. You understand this point? Yeah. Like somebody may pray to Krishna, oh Krishna, if you so desire, please get me some funds for this, I can make a temple. So it's fine. So he has a core desire to make a temple of Krishna because that may be the order of his guru for him. Like Prabhupada may be praying, if Krishna is so desire, please give me a chance to go to West. There's so many people will be praying to God, going to Visa Balaji and all that. There is South, there is Visa Balaji. They go to Balaji to get visa sanction. There is a famous Balaji over there. So Prabhupada did not go for Visa Balaji for the sake of his son's gratification. Prabhupada would have prayed, oh Lord, please, if you so desire, please allow me to go to West, because his guru has ordered. You please Krishna consciousness all over the world. So that was to fulfill the desire of Krishna. So that is not for his profit that he wants to go and have chill around going to the Western countries. No, not at all. So devotee has no desire other than trying to please Krishna. That's why he doesn't have any kind of desire for material profit. And no claims to proprietorship. Yeah, if anything comes up to him, a devotee does not claim that. He understands Krishna's. Let me use it for Krishna's purpose. Devotee may become famous. But he will use that fame for the sake of propagating Krishna consciousness more. Devotee may get money. He will use that money for the sake of propagating Krishna consciousness, for the sake of cultivating his Krishna consciousness and spreading the message. That way. And then he says, free from lethargy. Why? Because ultimately, if you don't serve Krishna, you will be serving some of the temporary designations. You cannot be idle. That's not possible. So better you take a conscious initiative to serve Krishna, do all your work, dovetail all your work for the satisfaction of Krishna, because you cannot be idle. It's not possible. You may say, no, I will sleep. No, when you're sleeping, then also you're serving ignorance. You're serving your own body, which is influenced by ignorance. Yeah. You're serving your own ignorant mind by just sleeping. It's not that you're not doing, you're doing some activity. That activity is in mode of ignorance. So if you don't serve Krishna, you will serve the modes. You will serve the dictations of your mind, which is influenced by the modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness. It's a different subject matter, which we have discussed elaborately before. But the point is, you'll have to serve. So better don't be lethargic. Don't be lazy in doing your work for Krishna. Your driving force should be, let me satisfy Krishna. Is this point clear till now? So I'll just open for some question in case somebody has question. Then I'll little bit go through the purport also. Anybody has question? Online, if you have any question. Okay, if you're not, then I'll just little bit continue further. So he says, this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is not meant to make us inactive. ठीक है, आपका गीता भागवत को पढ़ लेंगे तो साधु बाबा बन जाएंगे, कुछ करेंगे नहीं फिर. No, it is not like that. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna came into action. And in Krishna consciousness, even in our temple also, it is not that somebody who becomes sadhu, he becomes a parasite. No, in fact, the sadhus in our ISKCON organization, they become more active. We have so many things to do, right? So nobody is inactive. Everybody has to work. But we may work differently. A person like me, who may be like brahmachari, or somebody may be like sannyasi, renounce order. So they may work, with a different set of activities, more direct towards Krishna. But somebody may be grihastha, he may be even earning for his family and all, but he's doing with the consciousness to serve Krishna. Ultimately, he's not claiming the proprietorship over his money. He's thinking it's Krishna's money and he's doing that work so that he can utilize the result of his work for Krishna's service. Directly or indirectly. Ultimately, it's all meant for Krishna. So this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge his duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was, so this point is clear, the living entity cannot be independent enjoyer. See, we have no problem with enjoyment. Bhagavad Gita is not having any problem with our enjoyment. Krishna is not having any problem with our enjoyment. The problem is that we want to enjoy independently. And that's not our nature. That's not our constitutional position. Like a child can nicely enjoy with his parents, in the custody of the parents. Child has everything. But the child wants to become independent. He has to really suffer, because he cannot be independent. It's not, he needs protection. He needs the guidance of his parents. He's a child. The same way the living entity is called, the jiva is called tathastha. It always needs to be under the subordination of the Lord. It's so made, the jiva is so made that he's always needing shelter. So if we don't take shelter of Krishna, we will take shelter of Maya, illusion. So that's what he's saying, the living entity cannot be happy, independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. Because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. That's our real nature. To always align with the Lord, to be subordinate to the will of the Lord. And when we do that, we'll be happy, because Lord's will is to make you happy. Like the parents always want good for the child. So simply if child cooperates, he'll be happy. It's very simple. Any good parents, if the child cooperates with them, child is going to have a very bright future. It's obvious. So who can be the best parents than Lord? You have to simply cooperate. That's why good sons will read Gita and Bhagavatam, and they will take the instructions of the Lord very seriously. And that's how they can become happy in their life. Anybody who follows the path of Lord, he has to become happy. He will become blissful and happy. Yes. That's what Prabhupada said. Hippies became happy. How? Because they followed the Lord. By following the representative of the Lord, the Guru, the Srila Prabhupada. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desire of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Yes, so that should be kept our focus. That everything is meant for Lord's pleasure. And we have to be very firm in terms of being focused in doing our duties for the service of the Lord without claiming any proprietorship. Sacrificing everything means what? Our whimsical mind may try to tell us, that, oh, do it for yourself. So that we have to fight against. No, I don't want to do it for myself. It is for the Lord. So that consciousness has to be cultivated. That mentality has to be cultivated. Not for me, it's for Lord. So any opportunity you have, think of how can you use that opportunity for the satisfaction of the Lord. Like suppose Gyan Prakash Prabhu, he gets promoted to some particular college as a professor. Say Harvard, you become a professor, you are given an opportunity. So you can think of, oh, how can I facilitate preaching Krishna consciousness? Right? Let me conduct a seminar for all the Harvard students and invite some devotees. That will give you some kind of, devotees will get some kind of access to be able to preach, to be able to give the message of Gita to many more people. So now you can utilize that opportunity in terms of Krishna Seva. And you can teach very nicely so that your students will be very happy with you. And then they may want to ask, sir, how to manage life. You may help them and you can also chant Hare Krishna. Come to temple sometimes. So they will hear you because you are a good teacher. You are setting a good example. It will have some influence. So you have used your good work of studies, teaching them, or your position as a teacher. By doing it very responsibly, you have actually earned a good name, in terms of, oh, you're a very good teacher and very responsible man. So students will have some influence and then you can utilize that for giving them Krishna consciousness. It's possible. So Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetas. So he is the soul of all souls. So we have to depend on him fully, without personal consideration. No desire to have personal profit. So that is called Adhyatma Chetas. That means your Chetana has become spiritualized. Adhyatma Chetas. That means you are very much conscious that you are the eternal loving part and parcel of Krishna, and it's your best interest to serve him, and that's how you can become truly happy in your life. So then you don't have to too much consider. But if you know, oh, this is the will of the Lord, this is the order of the Lord, you will do it anyway. Because that is the best interest of mine. That will only make me happy. Because that is the supreme dharma, to follow the order of the Lord. That is the supreme dharma. There is no other dharma superior to that. That's what Krishna says. Sar dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrendering to his will is the supreme dharma. So one has to just do it. One doesn't have to consider further. Once he understands, it is the order of the Lord. Of course, in our life, we understand the order of the Lord through three things. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. By the spiritual master, by the scriptures, and by the sadhus, what they are giving us. Especially in parampara, when we hear the instructions from our spiritual master and the representatives of Krishna, our representatives of our spiritual master. So having the guidance of those senior Vaishnavas, we can understand what is the will of the Lord. It's not that whimsically we have to concoct our own way. Oh, I think this is the will of the Lord. That I will go and steal something from that other person's house, something. You cannot concoct anything. You have to be guided by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. to understand the will of the Lord. One has to be guided by all three. One can sometimes read the scriptures and concoct his own things. One can sometimes misapply different teachings. So that's why one has to be guided by Guru. One has to be guided by some senior Vaishnavas, so that he carefully tries to execute the will of the Lord without consideration of, oh, what I like, what I don't like. No. Because my like and dislikes have never made me happy. Child may like many things that won't be of his good interest. Ultimately, that won't help him. Child may just like to play whole day. He may not want to study at all. But if he follows the father, follows his parents, that will actually make him happy. Nirashihi means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. Fruitive results, why? Because fruitive results is material profit. You get stuck. Then again, the whole train, whole direction of your life will again become self-centered. So whatever results you get, use it again for Krishna's service. Offer it back to Krishna. Whatever success you get, offer it back to Krishna. Whatever failure you get, don't be disheartened. Understand that the results are in Krishna's hand. You have done your effort, Krishna is pleased. Now see further how Krishna wants you to serve. Find out that and keep serving. That's what is in your hand. So to continue that. So we don't have to become morose when some kind of defeat is there. Like Jatayu was defeated. He was not morose. He knew that he fought for Krishna, fought for Lord Rama. Lord Rama was pleased. He was promoted to the kingdom of God. So success or defeat is not in our hand. It's up to Krishna. But if we have put endeavor to please Krishna, our full endeavor, then we are actually victorious. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of my unto me. Understood this point? So you may have to deal with money, facilities, fame, whatever, but it's not yours. Just like a cashier. Cashier does not claim any property. He doesn't tries to claim over anything, because he knows that all money belongs to the bank. He may count. So same way we may have, like cashier gets money for some time, right? Crores of money, but it's gone. Same way we may be cashier for this life. So much money you may get. And then at the time of death, taken away. So that cashier gets money for 10 seconds, you get for some more time. That's all. You may say, no, but we can purchase many things. Okay, if you purchase things also, how much time is going to be with you? How much time? So it means, but it was never yours. It was never yours. Like if I give you, a big Mercedes Benz car for one day, you won't be, one day, kya bro, mera thodi hai car. It's not yours, correct? So how does it matter? 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, for one life. It is never yours, because you are going to live anyway. So anything of this world, you never came, you never, as you got birth here in this body, it was not yours. But you started claiming that's mine now. And then you have to give up anyway. So it was never yours. So one has to realize that. So one acts in such consciousness, it's called nirmama. Nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such an stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsman in the body relationship, the reluctance should be thrown off. So that temporary identification, that may sometimes obstruct us, because we may start investing our time in temporary identification itself. Like suppose a person working in company and he becomes so absorbed in the company, forget the family members. So that will be a problem, right? So identification of the family member is superior than identifying with the company. If there is a contradiction between the interest of the family and the company, what one should do? One will surely give priority to the family first. Yes? Yeah, because he understands my family is the more important identity for me. The most important identity, real identity, is our identification with the Lord. So for that interest, we should be ready to forego the interest of our temporary designations. Correct? That's what he's saying. The consideration of so-called kinsmen in the body relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigatattvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness. Yes, you may have certain designations, duties. Do it all for the service of Krishna. Dowtail everything for the service of Krishna. That will lead one to the path of liberation. I think I covered it. I know that I am a bit fast towards the end, because I have no time now. But still, if you have any 1-2 questions, if one reflection, anything somebody wants to have. Any reflection or any question? Maybe just one reflection we can hear. Yes, Prabhu, we want to say something. Quickly, because I don't have time.
Yes, any activity that we do when we surrender to Krishna, any kind of, I have noticed that any kind of like punya papa or whatever, everything goes to Krishna, nothing remains with us. That helps us to remain calm and not to worry about the result or the repercussions of anything that we do.
You have to say something?
What I understood from this is doing what we want to do with all the qualities here of Krishna, and like be truthful to whatever you have done or whatever you are going to do, and don't expect from you. Just do, that's your part, and then leave it to the Lord. That is what I understood from this.
Very good. Do your best, leave rest to Krishna. Very good. Any other point from online? One reflection. Can you please tell? Anybody like to share? Quickly, because I need to go now. We'll meet at 7:40 again. Yes, go ahead. Quickly. Anybody like to share one reflection? One reflection. All of you. Everybody has to do. So if you can just volunteer to share one reflection. Come on, I think they are not in the mood to share anything. Can you please? Should I take the names? I don't want to take the names. Just please share. One point. Just one point. You're not responding.
Hi, I would like to share something. So am I audible?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Um, so after hearing this, I usually have this messy thought. So from this session, I thought that everything is eventually what is happening will be taken care by the God. So usually this is what happened to me, or what happens to me always. Like, I usually take lot of pain to do everything, like put lot of efforts in everything. So when I won't see the results, I would always feel bad. So definitely, which is not meant to be is not meant to be. That's what I learned from this session. So
Very good. Thank you.
that's
Next.
all Krishna's will. Yeah.
Thank you. Because results are not in our hands, Krishna's hand. And we should know that Krishna knows the best. Sometimes we have our own idea. If I get this, I'll be happy. But there are people who have got things what they wanted, but they still they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, go ahead. Anybody else? Yeah, Shantanu, you have raised your hand. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, one more point I would like to share to everyone is that now I used to be very anxious about the future, like what will happen next? Will I get internship? Will I get job? But then after reading the Bhagavad Gita and after attending your sessions, I realized one thing, that ultimately it's in God's hand. Like you had mentioned last time and today also, that God will always take care of us, and it won't happen that we will come on road. He will always provide us food, shelter, and all. And whatever it is as per His will. So instead of worrying about things, you should leave it in God's hands. Like, it is He who's going to decide, instead of being anxious about the future.
You are never doomed. You'll always be taken care. Yes.
Right.
You'll always be taken care. Even if you die, also you'll be taken care, because you're not the body, your soul. Jatayu was taken care even in death. So don't worry. That's why when you have the real clear knowledge of spirituality, you'll never be doomed. You understand that. You're always protected. And I was telling the other day that elephant, ants, horses, everybody's provided food and shelter. If you're trying to surrender to Krishna, if you're trying to be a devotee, why will He not provide you bread and butter? He will do that. That is that you don't even think about it. I'm not working since almost 10 years. 2015, I joined full time. I get all my meals. You may say, no, you're in ISKCON, they are giving you. No, I'm traveling also many times here and there, everywhere. So it's not, even if suppose ISKCON doesn't exist, it will exist. But I'm saying in case, then if it doesn't exist, organization doesn't exist, still Krishna will provide. Krishna will provide. We have nice stories, but I don't have time. we can discuss later. But yeah, anybody else? Quickly, can you tell? I think two, three more are remaining. Can you just quickly tell? What did you understand from today's session? One reflection. Yes? I think, okay, we'll stop here in case you're not willing to. We'll stop. But I encourage if all of you should, at least make one point, which striked you and should be happy to share that. Okay. But last chance, anybody like to share one point? Okay, fine. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Jai Gautamande, Hari Hari Bol. So all of you, if you want to stay back, stay back. 7:45 around I may come back. I need to do my service. But I'm keeping this Zoom session on. So those who wish to take a break and come back, you can come and take a break and come back also. Hare Krishna.
चालू होगा 7। आवाज कैसे आया? चालू होगा, चालू होगा, चालू होगा, चालू होगा, चालू बोला था ना। तुम्हारे में आया क्या? नहीं ना, फिर से चालू होगा 7:40 को। खाना खा लीजिए। फोन दे दो। क्या कर रहे हो अब्बा? खत्म हो गया? आते हो शाम को क्या करते हो? अच्छा, क्या 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 नहीं वहां गिर गया तो फिक्स नहीं किया था। देखो गिर कैसे गया? बोरो बोरो इसी मोबाइल में तो चलेंगे बीच समुद्र लगा था। समुद्र का जो भी जैसा तालाब के जैसा जो भी ट्रॉली कर सकते जितना समुद्र अभी चले समुद्र
क्या किया पूरे? पूरा दिन आपने रख दिया होगा ना? पानी डाल दो।
और जैसा चाहिए या ऐसा ही चाहिए? हाँ,
थोड़ा कम कर दो।
अरे देखो, क्योंकि तो कहीं नहीं खा है ना?
नहीं नहीं
Now, as long as I'm using more young on the platform, so far the same time. Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashadeshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा okay, so yeah, so we'll read from further. So we understand from Vedic literature that Brahman or the spirit is aniyamsha, smaller than an atom, and mahato mahiyamsam, greater than the greatest. As far as we can conceive, the space which contains the universe is the greatest. But Krishna has shown millions of universes in his mouth. There is Mother Yashoda and Krishna, but not there. But another pastime where Krishna opens the mouth and Mother Yashoda sees millions of universes in Krishna's mouth. The greatness of God cannot be comprehended by the living entities who are part and parcel of God. As living entities, we are very minute, infinitesimal, and God is infinite. Indeed, the magnitude of the individual spirit soul is so microscopic that it cannot be seen. One cannot even imagine it with his material desires. Therefore, it is said that the spirit soul is smaller than an atom. Since the living entities and Krishna, the Supreme Lord, are both spirit, they are qualitatively one. Quantitatively, however, the Lord is great and the living entities are small. This fact can be accepted immediately on the basis of Vedic information. In Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Yasyaika nivashati kalam athavalambhya jivan tiloma vilaja jagadandanatha. Prabhu, if you are there in temple, you can come to temple hall. Many millions of universes come out of God's body when he exhales, and they again disappear when he inhales. Simply by his breathing, millions of universes are created and dissolved. If this is the case, then how can the living entities claim proprietorship over anything? One's position is safe only insofar as he does not falsely declare himself to be God or proprietor. It has become fashionable to claim to be God, and fools accept such claims. But from the Vedic literatures, we understand that God is not so cheap. So we are one with God, but not in quantity, in quality only. That means God is Sachidananda, we are also Sachidananda, we are also eternal, God is eternal. We also have some knowledge of awareness. God also having, but God is full knowledge. And then we are also having the propensity to enjoy. We are also naturally blissful. God also is, blissful all the time. But only thing is we are in minute quantity. Means we don't have that infinite capacity to enjoy the way the Lord can. And we don't have that, the knowledge, like the Lord Lord knows everything about, like they say that, so many millions of universes, and Lord is fully aware, he is omniscient. He is fully aware of everything, within this world, within this, in this entire creation. And creation, when I'm talking about, I'm talking about creation in toto, everything. So Lord is supremely aware. We may not be supremely aware, but we have some consciousness. We can be aware of some things, but not everything, right? So, yeah. So we are infinitesimal, but God is infinite, right? So Srila Prabhupada is saying that there's a kind of propaganda that people want to say that, when you become liberated, you become God, or they try to compete with God, thinking that we all can be God, after we get rid of this temporary designation, we get rid of Maya. So there are three kinds of people actually. Srila Prabhupada writes him when purport, he was saying that three kinds of people: Adham, and then there is Madhyam, and there is Uttam. So Adham means what? Those people who think that I'm not different from God in all aspects. Only thing is right now I'm under illusory energy. I'm under designations. As soon as the designations will be dissolved, I'll become God. Is what the thing. It's called Adham. That means there's a very low class of people because they're thinking that they'll be God, or they are not different from God, they'll become God. Adham. And who are Madhyam? Madhyam people are the mediocre people. They may not be able to ascertain the form of the Lord very clearly. Who is God? What is his form? They may not very clearly ascertain. But they do believe that there is some supreme who is in control and who actually, is in control of all activities in this world. Things are not happening by chance. And they know that I am not that. There is some supreme, and they may not have clarity about who is that supreme. They may not be able to ascertain their form, his form, all that they may not know much, right? But at least they know that there is some supreme, and I am not that. And he manages, he is in control. Everything is happening under his direction. That much he has clarity. So that is Madhyam, mediocre. And the highest transcendentalist, highest spiritualist called Uttam, these are the people who know that I am different from God for sure, but I am having oneness with God in quality, in the sense that I am also such, I am also chit, I am also having this nature of being blissful. So that understanding that, and also the Lord is a supreme person, He has a transcendental form. He has transcendental qualities. He has transcendental pastimes. So all these things are real. It is not something illusion. And Lord has all these positive attributes, spiritual attributes. So which adham people, they don't have any understanding. They think, oh, God is something impersonal, or he has no attributes. That's what they may think. Impersonalist or adham, the Mayavadis actually. Those who think that they're not different from God. But here we know that the highest transcendentalist, they understand I am different from God, in quantity, but I am in quality one with Him. I am also a conscious person. God is also supremely conscious person, and we always remain individual. And there is a relationship of mind with God. There's an eternal relationship, right? So, like a loving child, a loving son, having very good parents, he doesn't want to become parents. He wants to relish, that relationship of son and parents, right? So that is a positive relish in that. And the son always remains the son of his parents, and the parents always remain the parents of his son. And there is no competition that son wants to become the father now, or he wants to merge in the father. That's not the case. So this understanding of merging with God, or with understanding of trying to become God, be God, it is all because of our contaminated mentality of trying to be possessor in this world, proprietor in this world. This is the full-fledged manifestation of that mentality when we want to become God. So sometimes we may not be so shameless. We may just want to claim more the proprietorship in this world. This is mine, that is mine, so many things. But when we become so shameless, then we say that I am only God. I'll become God. So you want to compete with God in a very shameless manner. So that is what generally Mayavadis are. They're foolish. They don't understand. So I'm talking about Mayavadis when the Mayavadis are the class of people, those who think that they're not different from God. They're completely not different from God. When they're when they get rid of these temporary designations, then they become as good as God. And they say everybody is God. That's what they say. But that's a very foolish idea. God is God. God is not like he becomes God eventually. And how can God be under illusion? That is all foolishness. So we'll go further. As long as we are not making puffed up, ego-centered claims, we are already liberated. There is no need to actually seek liberation. But as long as one thinks, I am this body, he is not liberated. Liberation means knowing perfectly well that one's self is separate from the body. One's self is separate from the body. That is called liberation. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami said, Prayashittam Vimarshanam. Develop your knowledge that will give you relief. Our knowledge is perfect when we come to know that we are very small particles of spiritual sparks, and that God, the Supreme, the greatest authority, greatest spiritual entity, supplies all our necessities. Eko bahunam yo vidati kaman. By knowing ourselves as minute particles, part and parcel of God, we can understand that our duty is to serve God. God is the center of all creation, of the whole universal body. He is the enjoyer, and we are his servitors. As this conception becomes clear, we become liberated. So liberated does not mean that we are going to get some kind of, different, some extra 2 hands are supposed to come, or some big aura needs to come, or I'll start doing some magic or something. No, liberation is very simple. Once you are situated in your consensual function of being servant of God and you are engaged fully in service of God, that's actually you're liberated. That means you don't claim anything. You don't have to enjoy the results of your work. You simply offer everything to Krishna. You simply want to serve him. You simply want to please him. You only exist for his pleasure. And you're fully aware of your position as being servant of God. You never want to become God. You never want to compete with God. Simply want to give happiness to God. And you always see everybody as the servant of God. They may be right now rendering the service to Lord directly, being enlightened soul, or they may be under the material nature's illusion. They may be under illusory energy of the Lord. But ultimately, they're all servants of Krishna. Ultimately, all are part and parcel of Krishna. And you may want to help them also to become lovers of God. So if you act in this way, if you are actually living with this understanding, and you are convinced of this fact, and you realize that's liberation actually. That's your liberated state. The example is one of coconut. The coconut, if you do, like if you shake the coconut, cluck, cluck, like sound will come. If the inner part of the coconut is separated from the outer part, correct? So Jivan Mukta is also like that. So even though he may be in this body, but he has given up his attachment to the body. He doesn't identify with the body. Of course, it doesn't mean that you shake the liberated soul and the kluk avaz will come. So that's not the point. The analogy to understand that how the attachment to the soul, attachment to the body is not there. How to understand? He doesn't need to be physically shaken up, but sometimes in material world there may be some upheavals. But the devotee who is liberated, he won't get disturbed. But rather, he will continue his service to Krishna. In all situations of life, he will continue his service to Krishna. That is the meaning of being liberated. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he came to West, he got heart attacks. He got so much of failures before. There's so much of terrible situation. But Prabhupada was never shaken up in terms of his faith in God, in terms of his service to God, service to Krishna. It continued. Why? Because when he was shaken up in terms of material situation, but he was detached. But what happens? Like we were reading other day, some women were praying to God, oh God, please save my husband, they're going to the war. So from one country, all the women were praying to God. Another country, they were also praying to God. So please save my husbands and brothers. But what happened? The fight happened and many of them got killed. And somebody has to die, if you have both the party are praying to God. So somebody has to die anyway because you're having a war. So in the war, many got killed and these women became atheist. No God. So Srila Prabhupada writes beautifully, you never consulted me before raising this kind of war. You acted whimsically, you also act whimsically, he also acted whimsically, and they're fighting, and then somebody dies, then you blame me. What is this? It's like the two sons of the father, fighting, and one fellow breaks the tooth of other fellow, and they're blaming, my father is very cruel. What is this? You have never, come to me to take good suggestions, good advice, and you are whimsically acting, and then when you suffer, you blame God. So that is foolishness, actually. So no, why should we blame God? So we are responsible for our own deeds. We are acting mischievous way, so we are getting our due punishment. And God allows that because we should learn our lessons, right? So why should we blame Him? Rather, we should take responsibility of our, previous misdeeds and better become the good sons of God. So he says, liberation entails freedom from all false conceptions. It is not that upon liberation one acquires 10 hands. That is proper rights also. It is not that after liberation you get 10 hands. In Srimad Bhagavatam, liberation is defined as mukti itva anyatha rupam. Mukti means to give up. Anyatha rupam denotes a false conception of life. This is to say that when one is situated in his original constitutional position, having given up all false notion, he is liberated. So that's the point. So I always sometimes think like that. Sometimes I just some guests would come in our temple sometimes. I would see him like an ordinary person. Fine. But sometimes I've seen he has given some Bhagavatam class. Or when I understood what kind of services he's been doing, then I understand, my Lord, he's a completely different person. Now my whole perspective towards that person would change. Just by his introduction and by his way of, when he speaks, then you understand his realizations and convictions. So externally you may see a person, it may look like same like some other person. Could be materially very attached. But because this person is situated, firmly in Krishna consciousness and he has no attachments, he is fully for the service of the Lord. But you may not externally understand. It's like a coconut, you may not understand. It's like same, looks like same. But when he speaks, when you see his situations and how he serves, without any kind of any kind of discouragement, completely dedicated. Jai Shri Radha Kapil Vallabha ki, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subramanya ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. So I'll just complete this and then we can continue. So the point is that, but after when we hear about him and when we hear from him, when we understand his realization, when we understand his convictions, then we understand, oh, he's a liberated, or almost like on the path of liberation. He's not an ordinary soul. Then we can clearly understand that, right? So we'll stop here. But if you have any comment, any questions, you can say. One comment or question we can take. Anybody wants to share something? Any comment or question? Any reflection, comment, question, anything? Yes? Want to say something? Want to say something? You just came now? You're outside? Okay, then we'll stop. So we'll have Kirtan now. Sumitro will give you all darshan also. And every day we have this class at 6:30. You're from which college? You're working? Okay. So every day 6:30 we have this session. We do it online. We put it also. In case you're not able to come, you can join online. But every day 6:30 p.m. we have this session. 6:30 to 7:10, 7:15, and then 7:40 to 8 also. So it's every day. Hare Krishna.